frustration, turns into resentment, and resentment turns into desperation. I'm talking emotional here. I'm telling you, you could be in your sweet spot, in your dream job as it relates to this assessment, and be in a crappy culture and be miserable.
Hey, this is Chad Namiro.
And I'm Kelley Namiro. Welcome to the Balancing Chaos podcast,
A lifestyle podcast where we will interview guests about wellness, business, and just about everything in between.
Our goal is to help you develop a lifestyle that promotes health, wholeness, and success. Through our conversations, we hope to inspire you to live a beautiful, full, and joyful life as you navigate balancing the chaos.
We hope you enjoy.
Okay, so when we left off, this is a part 2 episode. We are so excited for you guys to hear. Ken amazingly offered to give us both assessments, career assessments about like what our strong suits were, what our talents were, what our mission and what drives us. And we both filled them out, and we are doing episode 2. So if you missed episode 1, go back to episode 27 and listen to that interview, because it talks all about passion and purpose and how to kind of move from, if you are one of the, I think it was 70 or 80% of people who doesn't love their job and feels like you're clocking in and clocking out, this is a huge motivator. So that's episode 27. Like I said, we are back with Ken today. He is the best-selling author of The Proximity Principle and From Paycheck to Purpose, and the host of The Ken Coleman Show. He helps people to discover what they were born to do and provides the practical steps to make their dream job a reality. And he's going to do that and coach us here today. And so we're super excited to have Ken back on the show. Thank you so much for being with us again.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So we've got Chad on the precipice of a
new job,
life change. And so this
couldn't be better.
It's perfect. So we're going to look at his results. As I understand, we're going to look at your results, your purpose statement, and the results of your assessment, and kind of hold up some. I think you've got 3 positions you've been offered. Is that right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So you decide what we're going to talk about. He's looking at her like
just 2, and 1 should be coming any minute now. I'm comfortable saying yes.
Whatever you want to share, but what we're going to do is this is going to be fun, because we're going to take 2 opportunities that we know of right here.
Yeah.
And we're going to hold them up to the light of Chad and his purpose and the way he's wired. And then what's fun for you, Kelley, is you're rocking it. And
Thank you.
Looking at your results, I think your results, it'll be fun to look at for 2 reasons. You've got something that you're very, very clear about, and it's very on purpose for you.
Yeah.
So this will be in some ways very confirming for you. I'm sure it already has been, but it will also be liberating for you as you grow your business. It'll be a challenge for you as the solopreneur, the heart behind this business.
Yeah.
You will have to scale yourself. And so we'll look at your purpose statement, I think, and help the audience see how this is now a great job description for you to stay in your sweet spot as your company grows, so that you don't get stretched too thin and distracted.
That's great. I love it.
That's where I think the application is, given that you two are in very different situations. Okay.
Totally. And it's funny that you say that, because I'm kind of in that position right now where this is the first time in my career, or not career, but like my career in my, I guess, entrepreneurial way, that I'm actually looking to hire 2 full-time people. Everybody I've hired in the past has been, part-time or contracted out. And it's gotten to the point where like I need the support that I need. And it's been a hard process. So I'm excited to dive into that too.
Yeah. And this
is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why. We're going to create a job description for those 2 people by looking at your purpose statement.
Okay.
What I'm going to attempt to do. All right. I'm putting some pressure on myself, but I'm going to attempt to create a job description, high level, for the 2 people.
Okay, I love it.
We're going to look at pulling away from you what should be pulled away from you based on your purpose statement.
Perfect.
So that'll be a fun challenge. So who do we start with?
We'll start with Chad.
This is not exclusive to us. You can take this career assessment directly on Ramsey Solutions, right?
Yeah, KenColeman.com.
KenColeman.com.
And we'll provide you guys a link.
Perfect.
So in the podcast notes, it's easy. It's called the Get Clear Career Assessment. It's only $30. Takes less than 20 minutes. And if you just shut your brain off and answer the questions with your heart,
it's easy.
Easy.
It's super easy. Thank you.
Amazing.
All right. So where do
Okay.
we want to start? This is your house.
Let's start with Chad. Let's go. I want to hear this.
So be it.
All right. So I just want to share with the audience. I'm going to talk about Chad because it's going to be easier for me to talk about Chad than it is for him to talk about him. So there's three elements to the assessment, okay? And it measures what we do best. We call that talent. And then it measures what we love to do. I call that passion. And then it measures what motivates us, what results we get juiced to put out into the world. I call that mission, okay? So we're going to go through Chad's results really quick. So his number one talent was the talent of connection. And I do a description here of it, just general description. But he is skilled at forming relationships with ease, even in the moment, short-term relationships. And so that is the very word I chose on purpose, connection. He just connects well and then establishes a connection. Top talent number 2 was justice. Now, this means a strong sense of right and wrong.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Oh, his wife. This is great. His wife is going to be the ultimate judge of this.
Yes.
What it means is he has a high empathy meter. His empathy meter is always running on high. In other words, he's able to imagine himself in other people's situation. And he wants things to be done. He believes things ought to be done for the right reasons, the right way. That's what I mean by justice.
He feels so bad telling any little, if I'm like, oh, we could just white lie to the kids about what we're, and he'll be like, no, we're not doing that. And I'm like, oh, okay, we're not doing that.
It's true.
Exactly.
It's true.
Don't yell at me. All right. And then his third top talent is persuasion, skilled at influencing people.
Gosh, yes.
Action. And I mean, look at his wife, folks.
I call it manipulative. You call it persuasion.
Oh.
As any quality man does, he outmarries himself. And Chad,
Thank you.
The same thing. I did the same thing, man. Okay, and
Isn't it great?
So then, so now we move into, what does Chad love to do? What makes his heart beat quickly when he thinks about doing it, and when he's engaged in it, time seems to stand still? One is analyzing type work. He likes to examine an issue, break it down, look at it from multiple different ways. He's fascinated by how it works, why it works, all that. He really wants to dive into it. The second passion that he has is promoting ideas, products, people. He loves a great story. If he thinks the narrative needs to be shared, he's all in. He loves it. That's the idea. And then finally, passion number 3, advocating. He's got a voice. He's good at using his voice, and he wants to put it behind things or people that matter. And that's the idea of advocating. It doesn't mean he's going to be a lawyer, but the idea is that it ties in beautifully to the justice talent. So the talent of justice and the passion of advocating go hand in hand, right? Because when it's right and should be right, you want to tell people about it. You want to make sure that it's done the right way.
Yeah.
And,
I should start a podcast.
That's right. And then finally, his number one missional result is influence, and this is a people motivator. It is people centric.
Yeah.
It is all about transformation, excellence, wins, and it has a human component. He cares deeply about influencing others. So when you put all that together in a sentence, and I'm doing this really quickly, you all are being so patient because I didn't have his purpose statement printed out, but it just puts it all in one sentence. Chad was put on this planet to use his top talents of connection, justice, and persuasion to perform his passions of analyzing, promoting, and advocating for the purpose of creating and producing influence, making positive changes in the lives of others. So that's a quick summary. So that's what the assessment points out for him. And so now that becomes the grid by which every future decision that you make, Chad, it's got to be run through that.
I got to say, just to give your assessment some serious props, Ken, you nailed him. It's it couldn't be more true. I mean, the guy will if he's trying to fix something or we even had a conversation. He gets like lost in it, first of all, and won't like time stand still until whatever the problem is that's fixed. But like the analyzing thing, we were talking about deciding on a preschool for our son this morning. It's like, it should be a really easy decision. It's preschool, right. But he's like, I want to see the test scores of the children who have gone from this school, and then with the test scores of the other kids from other schools, and then we can make a decision. And it's like, no one else would say that. That's so right. Data driven. Right. So it's great.
That's how he's wired. And I appreciate the kind words, but to the audience, the reason that this is such a valuable tool, this is my life's work, is because it's a self-awareness tool. If you really want to boil this down, self-awareness, and I think we talked about this in our previous interview, self-awareness is a superpower. It is attractive. It gives great trust. People trust you when they just know that you're aware of who you are and you're in that uniqueness. I mean, it's a special thing. So really fun. All right. So we've got two specific.
So what does that mean he should do? Yeah.
so we want to use this, right? This becomes now a filter for Chad.
Yeah.
Right? Business ideas. If he ever wants to start his own thing, he's got two with a third potential offer on the way. And so what this does is this becomes this moment of, I can take any opportunity and run it through this filter of my purpose statement, and it gives me tremendous clarity. And then that gives me confidence as to whether or not I should say yes or I should pass. That's what this does. I mean, remember, I think I said this in my first interview. Clarity gives us confidence, and confidence gives us courage. We don't summon courage out of thin air. Courage is a instinctive byproduct of a person who's confident, but you cannot be confident if you aren't clear.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing here. So, all right. So you share whatever you want to share, Chad.
Yeah.
But I need enough to be able to kind of walk you through, all right, does this line up? Which one lines up best with your purpose statement? So give me opportunity number one.
So ultimately, I think what I learned from the assessment, perceivably at least, is that I do enjoy sales, right? And so sales to me is creating a strong connection with a buyer, with a merchant, advocating on behalf of your solution, and then, promoting that solution. I think ultimately for me, I need to be ensured that it's helping people, that they're going to have a positive experience. It's going to enable their business, provide results, etc. And if I can do those things, I tend to be happy. And so I ultimately did choose to stay in sales management. There's another element of that as well in terms of managing sellers. And so the connection piece is important to me there. Coaching, moderating, helping others, build their craft type of thing is again, perceivably pretty important to me. And so I think what I landed on was, it ultimately comes down to the company, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like the product, the company, the market, and the people I'm working with, and the executive, let's say, direction in terms of what they believe is true, where they're taking the company, kind of the ethos, if you will.
Their values.
Yeah, so, I think you nailed that.
Yeah,
you nailed that. Let me validate you very quickly on that. Yes, to ultimately really, really be super happy, you have to have a real deep personal connection. It doesn't have to be a lot of experience, but you, through your natural analyzing, you got to make a connection to that solution, whether it's a product or something.
Yes.
So he wants to feel pure that I influence somebody to buy something that really is a fantastic product.
Yeah.
So I think here's your little mantra. All right. It is, I must have a good, solid, personal value connection to the solution that I'm selling, whether it's a product or a service.
Yeah.
Second, I've got to be in a culture and an environment that I also feel very at home in.
Yeah.
That really matters. I think we as humans overlook that. I would tell you all that a high percentage of people that just aren't happy at work, it's less about the seat of the bus that they're on. It's more about the bus.
Yeah.
I think I call this, we get this little free quiz we give away at kencoleman.com called Should I Quit My Job Quiz. And it comes out gives you four. It's a great little quiz. And it gives you 4 outcomes. And one of them is, I'm in the right role, but the wrong place. And that's a situation where I'm in the right seat of the bus, a lot of people, but yet they don't like the bus. And boy, I'll tell you, you want a cocktail of confusion, try going into that every day.
Right.
You feel confused all the time. You're like, gee, I really like the work, but good grief, I can't stand this place. So it's also important for you that you're very in aligned, because you've been very successful. You've worked big time. You've been very successful financially. You've been at the top of the sales world. So it's even more important to you, Chad, now knowing what little I know about you, that there is a good culture fit. So the environment's got to be right. And that's not true just of you. That's for everybody. And then I think
the money stops mattering as much. It really does.
It does. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's like, I need a connect. And so this is the third one. A good group of people.
Yeah.
It is possible that you could assess a company, Chad, that has a very healthy culture. I would call it a healthy company. But the team you're working with, you may not have chemistry. And again, that matters, man. I mean, I remember in college going out with some really pretty women that I had no connection to. I mean, I liked looking at them, but I didn't like having dinner with them.
Yeah,
totally.
You know? And we've all been there.
Yeah,
people leave their managers, not their jobs, right? Or sometimes, but I believe it's very true. Oftentimes, I'm sure you would agree.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
I think one of the things that, like, when it comes to the decision that he's making in terms of, the opportunities that he has, because the biggest differentiator I think that we've come down to in our conversations is, like, one of the places is a culture of, like, work. You're expected to be on all the time. And what I say,
publicly traded, massive company,
big company. And I'm like, okay, like, this opportunity sounds like a challenge for you. And, like, I'm looking at from, like, the glass half full perspective. Like, it could be a challenge. Like, we don't have to look at it as, like, oh, work is a bad thing. But then the other opportunity is maybe, like, a little more balanced. You can travel more. Like, and so I think that culture wise, like, that, honestly, that's, I mean, because, like we said, money's kind of starting to matter less. It's like he knows that he's going to get paid well no matter where he goes. It's like, how do you figure out which culture aligns best with you when the roles are pretty much the same?
Yeah.
Let's break it down.
Just for context. So one's, I can't
say what the name is,
but they're one of the biggest companies out there, proven products, massive company, publicly traded, like I mentioned. You're talking like 10,000 plus employees. The other one's private equity owned, mid-stage, probably around 100 employees, a lot smaller team, probably a lot more control. A lot less red tape, a lot less bureaucratic. Maybe not as mature product-wise, but actually pretty proven product. They have a great set of customers. They've been around for 10 plus years. And so I'd say both are products that I'm comfortable selling, that I, can put myself behind, if you will.
Yeah, but let's look at the two products side by side without going into detail. We don't need to know.
Yeah.
Which of the two do you believe the most in? Where's the greatest personal connection?
It's tough. One's a newer product at a very established company. And so I really do believe theoretically in its possibility. And I even a step further, like talking to merchants, I know there's a real need for this type of product out there, and it's kind of the first of its kind. And so that to me gets me really excited. The other one is in a far more competitive space. They don't have nearly as large of a moat, I would say. They are the premier product in their vertical, so that helps. And, they have the customers to back that.
I get
more excited about it.
Ken and I can tell you, you're more excited about option one.
I was going to go with Kelly, the wife. But it was all over your face.
Yeah.
Anybody that watches this back, if you rewind it, actually, this is a great lesson here. The heart never lies.
It's so good, Ken. I love it.
The brain is a masterful liar. The heart doesn't. Yeah. And dude, the physiological change in you when you talked about option one versus two, it's not even. I'm not married to you, and I can see it. All right.
Yeah.
So it's very obvious.
Yeah.
And so so now that's an indicator. Now we got to go to, and we're going to come back. We'll come back to the purpose statement in a second.
Yeah.
But we've kind of taken a deep dive. So now let's talk about culture.
Mm.
Very, very different from what little bit you've told me. These are, they're almost on the opposite end of the spectrum.
10,000 versus 100.
100 people is
Yeah,
is like a small business.
Yeah. They've scaled very appropriately, I would say. They haven't taken money when they don't need to. You know, they've really controlled margin. They likely are profitable or will be very shortly here. Yeah, again, you know, the other company known for being more militant, like somewhat cold, really.
Let me just tell you something right now. Okay, let me just tell you something, and you got to consider this. Now you're going to go high up the food chain. I'm guessing you're in a C-suite sales role or close to it.
Close to it, yeah.
Okay, close to it. Well, these big time companies, I've talked about this every day on the Ken Coleman Show. Okay,
yeah.
These big time companies are dropping 12,000 people, and they're sending them an email in the middle of the night. I mean,
Yep.
I've been banging on Google all week, and I'm probably going to get all my episodes like demonetized on YouTube. But I'm just telling the truth. I read a story today that went viral on LinkedIn, and a guy had been with Google for 11 and a half years.
Yeah.
And he and his wife both got an email the same morning telling them that they had been laid off and they were locked out of their computer.
Breaks my heart.
Another Google engineer went in at 4 a.m. last week to finish a project at 4 a.m, and his key fob didn't work. That's how he found out.
Yeah.
Google employees, I'm not trying to just bang on Google, but they represent these large companies
100%.
who they will hire up when times are good. The first mention of a recession, and they start looking at stock price. They care about the stock price and only about the stock price. I'm just going to tell you, because if they cared about people, then they would at least have a knee-to-knee conversation with 12,000 people.
Yeah,
no,
such is my plight.
It's I think that's what he is worried about, like he just said. And I think, I mean, I have a couple of clients who have been, you know, working for a couple of these bigger companies and get let go. And it's like, it's inhuman, like for someone to have to find out, and like, they don't even get to say goodbye to their peers or like the people who they've been managing. And I know this is just like kind of a side conversation, but it breaks my heart that like people can think that that's an okay way to let someone go, especially people who've been working there for like over a decade.
Yeah, especially.
So you have to take that into account.
Totally.
I'm not one of these guys that tries to blanket everything, but I would consider that as you're looking at, well, how old are you?
36.
All right. So you're really young. So when you make a decision, no, you are, dude. I mean, I'll be 49 this year. I mean, good grief. But I think you also have to take into account that you've got an incredible resume and you have a lot to offer. And keep in mind, we're just talking about position 1 and 2. We think number 3 is sending an offer over any day now. You know, so I would be very patient right now.
Yeah.
I think the excitement level is there for the product or the service, for one. I think the culture
for 2.
For 2, what I don't know is, and this is going to be something you have to dig into, is the team you'd be working closely with at each. That's the third element. But we have to we don't know yet on that. So the question is, do you feel like both positions allow you to use your talent of connection, justice, and persuasion to perform your passion of analyzing, promoting, and advocating to produce influence? Feels like the answer is yes.
I think so. Yeah.
Both would give you that.
I believe so. Yeah. It's hard once you get in there and you are dealing with corporate dynamics. Those things can shift, but like from the outside looking in, given what I know, I think the answer is yes.
All right. So now this is really fun for the audience and not just for Chad. So he feels like the answer is yes, but here's why this is important. In the interview process, Chad, you have got to really dive in and look at.
They're different.
Are you going to be able to spend most of your day, and let's just take a round number here, and let's call it 80%. Will you have the autonomy, or is it clearly lined up in your key results areas in this job position, both companies, where you can spend 80% of your day analyzing, promoting, advocating? And there's derivatives of work that fall in those buckets, but like, this is about you being able to spend most of your day in the sweet spot, if you will, where I'm using my talent. I'm spending 80% of my day using my talents of connection, justice, and persuasion. I'm spending 80% of my day analyzing, promoting, advocating. And I'm spending 80% of my day driving results that are related to influence, whether that be my team that I'm leading or major accounts. And I think that's where in the interview process, I coach this with people. The interview process is just as much for you as it is for the company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting married. So
100%.
I need to know. And I think what I want you to do is to begin to create your own, and in your report, go back to your report, because I give you a lot of words that you can kind of grab, but you're really truly interviewing them to say, I need, and you can assess on your own, am I going to be able to spend most of my day in my purpose?
I would say the answer is yes for the smaller company. I forget which option that was.
Option 2.
That's been more clearly defined.
But you haven't really finished the interviews with option 1, so you don't know for sure yet. You have to like go in.
Well, the smaller company is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I've finished.
Yeah, no, but the bigger one, you have to go in and like actually ask those questions.
Here's the fear, if you will. Larger companies tend to be more bureaucratic. There tends to be more internal meetings, just a lot of time spent not working with customers, not working with your team. That tends to be what happens. And so that's the fear, right? Because to your point, when you describe all the things, to me, that means, like you kind of said, like working directly with my team, coaching them, et cetera, and then being on the ground level with customers and like being in their issues and creating solutions.
Do you tend to find that people who are working for these like, mega corporations, 10,000 people, like are there types of people who can be really happy in those places, or are most people in those, Okay.
Absolutely. It comes down to you finding the right seat on the bus.
Right.
So whether it's a mega company or it's a small business, you've got to be in the right seat of the bus. And it really comes down to that. Am I spending the majority of my day
doing the things that I should be doing? Right.
That's it. Because that's where the juice comes from, is where all three come together. And it's like, when I use what I do best to do what I love, to produce results that matter to me, that's the dream job. We've made the dream job language and culture, it is really unattainable. It feels like this far off fantasy, but it's not. The idea of when we say dream, it's like, oh, that would be a dream, which means that would be wonderful.
Mm.
I enjoy the crap out of myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm having a blast.
Yeah.
Now, I have hard days. I have long days. All right. I've literally been broadcasting almost the entire day today through multiple things. And here I am at the end of the day on a Friday. And I'll be very honest with you. I'm physically and mentally probably pretty tired, but I won't know until I walk out to the parking lot. And this is absolutely true, by the way, anecdotally, and we know this from science of the body. Literally, when I finish this podcast and I'll go wrap up and I'll walk out, and by the time I get to the car and in the 15 to 20 minute drive home, my dopamine goes like this. And that's real. Kelley, you're the expert on that.
Oh, totally.
It's like the dopamine for me is at a high right now. So it doesn't even matter
totally
if I'm tired, sick, or whatever. And so I don't want people to miss this. Like, this isn't new age, kumbaya, rah-rah stuff. This is how the body is wired.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so I just don't want to miss that. I think sometimes it gets lost. It's like, this isn't motivational gibberish. Like, this is real. And so when you spend most of your day in this sweet spot like this, your body, the dopamine and every chemical that you need to perform at a high level is just, it's
firing.
Coming, baby.
Totally.
Yeah. It actually brings a really valid point or discussion, because the third option is like a true startup, and you need to build all the infrastructure and all the scaffolding, and the product's less mature. And so you're just inherently not spending nearly as much time as you probably would like to on the things that I would
value
want to spend time doing or value.
We all talk about it like, oh, I feel like my job is so draining. Yeah, it literally is draining.
Yeah.
Literally, the chemicals in your body the right chemicals are at low levels
Low
because
levels.
your heart's not engaged.
Totally.
And by the way, the heart drives the brain on this deal,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Literally the feeling, the emotions, and the excitement triggers the brain to go, oh, we
Right.
need some dopamine right now, and so then it goes. So I will tell you, option 3 for me would be a yellow flag.
Totally.
And if I were coaching you, and I am, but if I was really advising you on this day in, day out, I'd go, I want to find out how long you will be in infrastructure, setting up the room mode. And
Tends to
the
be a
answer
while.
to that, yeah. So I got to tell you, so I don't know if everybody noticed his face. Right? As soon as I said, how long, but he went, it's too long.
Yeah, probably so.
Because if it were a small amount of time, or at least let me put it this way, if it were an amount of time that you believed was okay, you'd have been like, but you didn't do that.
Yeah.
You were like, I mean, dude, the very thought of you processed it that quickly, you've already thought of it.
Yeah.
Stay away from number 3.
And like, that's where the whole money conversation, like, even if option 3 was to pay him the most money, it wouldn't probably be worth it, because what matters more is like coming downstairs at the end of the day or coming home from a trip and being like, I feel good. I like what I'm doing. So if it's a little more money for like that versus that happiness, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and
Okay.
this is the ultimate. I love that you said that, Kelley, because here's the deal. Chad, you really are in a place, and a lot of your listeners and viewers are at a place where deep down that you got what it takes.
Yeah.
And you can go get a good job, but we're not talking about a good job. You've had good jobs. You've made really good money. You walked away from an extremely attractive position, your last position. So we're not worried about you being successful. And I will say this is super important. And it's kind of a derivative of why I do what I do. I want as many married couples as possible to both be in their sweet spot, because it's really cool to see Kelley over there going, she's cheering you on.
Yeah.
She knows what I just said, and she's going, I want you to have the juice at the end of the day for me and the kids.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
100%.
we don't think about that. We don't think about how a dead-end job, a soulless, lifeless, purposeless, meaningless job, how it affects our marriages and our parenting.
And our health, and it's like it literally bleeds into everything. It does.
Everything. And so I think it's really cool that she's supportive of you on this. I just want to point that out. I think it's huge for married couples to understand that we are a couple, we're a team, but we have these individual hearts, and we can both fulfill those hearts together. It's pretty awesome. So
yeah,
I don't like number 3.
Yeah.
He's realizing that.
What are you thinking right now?
The biggest takeaway is some of the questions I should be asking in terms of like day to day. What are your expectations? Like, who's doing this? I kind of assumed all this, but I should clarify.
So let's start ask this for your assessment. Like, let's ask this one.
To you.
All right. Let's ask this one final question for him. Is if there's one that he should value more, the product or the culture, is it, or should they be weighed evenly?
Completely evenly.
Okay.
Because let me explain that. Let's say he loves the product. He's like, Kelley, I've never sold anything in my life that I think is this great. And he's so fired up. And he gets in there, and like week 3, he's coming home, and you're like, what's up? And he's like, oh my gosh. He starts talking about the people or some decision leadership made, and it's starting to weigh on him. And then 3 more weeks later, and then 3 more weeks, and then you're about 12 weeks, 3 months into this thing, and you realize deep down in your heart, you're like, oh my gosh. I wish I could change this, and this, but you can't. Now what happens? Frustration turns into resentment, and resentment turns into desperation. And I'm talking emotional here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, you could be in your sweet spot, in your dream job as it relates to this assessment, and be in a crappy culture and be miserable.
Okay. I like that answer.
Both are highly important. You can't have one without the other.
Totally.
So that's what I
No,
believe.
you cannot. You cannot. And let me also say this: you're going to go in as a leadership position. If you inherit some people, you're a good guy, but you're going to have to realize how important it is that you have the right chemistry around that team that you lead, and you got to be willing to get rid of the people that don't have good chemistry, because that's another element. There is nothing like trying to lead somebody who doesn't want to be there. And so my position on that is like, try to resurrect them, try to redeem them, try to renovate them, try to figure it out. But after you give it enough effort and they just don't want to play the way you guys want to play and the team that you lead, that will wear on you as a leader, and it's time for you to show them the door.
Yeah. Both involve, all three for that matter, involve me curating and building my own team, which is a good thing. So you can kind of hand select people that you think are appropriate. So there's a little bit of that. There's going to be some inheriting, always is. But luckily, all three have me, having a lot of control around. Like,
and let me say this is going to sound like a pitch, but I'm calling it out so you all don't think it's a pitch. This assessment, when you're building and hand selecting a team, they all need to take it. The guys that you think are the right fit, and you just need
100%.
to verify it.
100%.
Because this is all about, you're building a bus.
Yeah.
And we got X amount of seats on the bus. Do I have and we have a B2B version of this.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
That is designed. It's not about someone going and getting a job. It's like, do I have you on the right seat of the bus so that you're engaged?
I love that.
That's great.
Yeah.
Hey fam, if you are listening here, then you may be someone who deals with chronic overwhelm, bloating, anxiety, and weight you can't lose, maybe hair loss or skin conditions. If one of those things rings true for you, the Wellness by Kelley Health and Hormones course is available to help you get to the root cause and solve the issue in a way that's sustainable and gives you your lifestyle with lasting results. No more diets or quick fixes, but real health and vitality for the long run. My course runs through everything from what labs to test for to what protocols to implement given what's off in your blood work. We cover a variety of hormonal imbalances and how to heal them, plus the mindset work that you'll have to do to change your habits. If you're ready for an environment where you can learn the tools and truly heal to feel your best, most aligned, light, confident version of you, then this course is for you. If you're feeling called to join the WBK Health and Hormones course, head to the link in the show notes to learn more, where you'll get my membership included with your purchase.
This is going to be fun, because now we're going to flip this and we're going to go, here's a successful entrepreneur.
Thank you.
And she's growing, if I remember correctly from the last time we talked. You got babies.
Yeah.
You got a husband. I mean, and so what we're going to do here is like, Kelley is absolutely on purpose. Okay. So this is a little bit different application. She's on purpose, but what we want to make sure is that she stays on purpose. And one of the challenges, I know you got a lot of entrepreneurs that listen to the show, so I'm trying to contextualize this. One of the greatest temptations for entrepreneurs is because it's their baby. They birthed it, and they're, when they start, they're the chief everything officer. But then as we begin to grow and scale, it's really hard to let go of the baby and let anybody else hold the baby, right? And it's super normal. Okay, so this is not a guilt trip. So what's happening there is, for that solopreneur, is the control is about fear.
Mm-hmm.
And we are afraid that someone else won't do it the way we do it. In other words, we don't trust.
Totally.
And so one of the ways that we have to combat the fear is by showing ourselves who we really are, and realizing, oh, I should be way more afraid of holding my company back and maybe driving my company into the ground.
Yeah.
Than I should be afraid of trusting other people. And so it's again an awareness tool to go, oh, at some point now I've got to delegate and eliminate from my workload.
Right.
For the health of the company.
Yeah.
So.
And I said that before we were recording. This is the first time in my 3 years of being an entrepreneur that I'm actually looking to hire 2 full-time people. So yeah, it's like it couldn't be better timing to.
All right. So this is going to be fun. You ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
Okay. So, Kelley's top talent is discernment. That's why she's really good at coaching.
Thank you.
She gets women in there and she's listening to them, but she's digging deeper. She can see the issue behind the issue. Is that fair?
Totally fair. Root cause is my thing.
That's it. You get right to the heart of it. Number 2 talent, connection. Huge. Got to connect to people to be able to get them to divulge enough to where you can really read them. She's great at that. By the way, high levels of trust, because these women are paying you. The ultimate exchange of trust, I think, is when someone is paying you for consulting or coaching.
Totally.
Because you are the product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so the minute that they don't think that you are helping them or that they don't trust you, they're out. And that's why I think it's really great. Top talent number 3, compassion. This is why she's growing. She naturally cares for others, and her clients feel that. People are drawn to you because you see their hurt, you validate them, and you empower them. And so that's the talent of compassion. All right, so if you're new to all this, again, kind of teaching you all as I kind of guide them through this.
Yeah.
These are Kelley's superpower tools, right? So this is where she gets the most, she gets the greatest results when she's using these top 3 talents. All right, the work she loves, we call passion again. Number 1, advising. Duh. I mean, she goes to the grocery store, right, Chad? And runs into a mom she's never seen before, and they're picking out zucchini, and they have a conversation. Next thing you know, she's guiding them, teaching them. She's always coaching people all the time, not even in a professional setting. Am I right?
Yeah, 100%.
minus my silly grocery store. She probably has never bothered anybody in the produce area. But people naturally share things with you, and you find yourself always drawn and advising all the time.
I was having lunch with someone 2 days ago, and they were asking me for it's like I'm always giving advice. It never ends.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. She kind of rolled her eyes at herself. She's like, "Oh, I need to stop." Okay. Number 2, performing. Now, when people get the assessment, because I got to choose these words that are pretty universal.
Right.
And so a little bit of explanation for Kelley on this, but I think you probably agreed with this. Performing doesn't necessarily mean that like me, like on a mic all the time and doing shows and speaking, or an actress or whatever. It can involve that, but it really is how I describe here. You come alive when you're doing what you're good at in front of an audience. You enjoy the pressure. You
totally
thrive in the spotlight.
I would agree with that.
Right.
I love being on camera. I have since I was a child.
Right. But to your current business, you love the pressure of meeting a woman where she is, and by the end of that session, getting her some breakthrough, getting her some progress, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the idea. That's a performance pressure, whether it's public or one-to-one, and I'm wired the same way.
Right.
And by the way, we know from science that people that love pressure, we need to stay in places of pressure all the time. It doesn't mean we're willy-nilly and we're not prepared, but we need to stay in pressure because our dopamine rises in those moments, and we're at our best when there's pressure. When people like you and me, Kelley, when we're not under pressure,
kind of sad.
Bad.
Bored.
Yeah.
Lifeless, bored, distracted. It's not good.
It's horrible.
So you have to speak to that, and you have to stay in that. So the point is that no matter how big your company grows, no matter how diversified, whatever, you can never take yourself out of a position where you got to be spending 80% of your day where you are under the pressure to perform. That's huge for you.
Mm-hmm.
So don't
I think that's
ever
why I like my group so much, because I just started a group this year, and it's like 30 women on a call, and I'm like, lecturing or coaching them all at once, or like being on Instagram and like doing a workout or something like that on Instagram, or like being on this podcast and talking. I love all that stuff. It feels really good for me. So you're 100% dead on with that.
And then passion number 3, she loves leading. She comes alive when she has to communicate to influence others, coaching others. Again, even in that one-on-one coaching, whether it be nutrition or exercise, it doesn't matter. And leading other people, leading a team. So this is huge. So as we look to expand your company and hire, we never want to take away that leadership role from you. You're always going to want to be that communicator, vision caster, making sure that the direct reports, that you are vitally involved with them. Yeah. Because that's your jam. All right, so let's look at your motivating driver, your number 1. Her number 1 mission is influence. Again, both of these two, they're people. They love people work, and they're good at people work, And so that's a beautiful thing. That's why you guys are drawn to each other, by the way, is that some of the great victories that you both have that you probably celebrate in private are so people driven that you both get a little bit of juice off of each other's people victories. That's really awesome. I really love that. I think that makes for an incredible, strong relationship when you guys are taking your work hats off, but still able to communicate the purpose and the meaning in your day.
Yeah.
By the way, I think you guys are going to be a super power couple when it comes to parenting.
Thank you.
When kids are blessed to have two people-focused parents, watch out. World changers. Okay, really exciting. So, all right. So now that we know your results, Kelley, we'll quickly do this. You're looking to hire 2 positions.
Yeah.
As it stands right now, describe, we'll call it position A and position B. What are you hiring for? What are you looking for position A and position B to do?
So position A is more of somebody who is going to be running my social media in all of the different areas. I've been so focused on Instagram for so many years that I want to be really diversified. And so just like evolving and expanding in social media and making sure that that person is doing community management and like talking to, people that I might miss and having that engagement. But also doing like outreach, whether it's to people to be on the podcast, people to be, brands for me to work with that align with my mission, or outreach to, media companies that would do interviews or things like that with us. So that's kind of one, like it's like a PR social media manager. And then the other full-time hire I'm looking to do is somebody who is a client management and handling all of the one-on-one bookings, scheduling, client questions, making sure that people don't have customer service issues, and also managing like the back end for me. So inputting all my notes for each person into like the proper folders. And so I don't have to do any of that because I don't like doing any of that.
And by the way, that's perfect. The reason you don't like it is because it doesn't motivate you. It's detail oriented. It's organizationally oriented.
And that drives,
I love that stuff.
That drives Chad crazy that I don't love that stuff. We were at coffee this morning and he's like, why do you not have any folders for all of these files? I'm like, I don't know. I'm
going to tell you why, Chad. I'm going to tell you why, Chad. Leave her alone because her assessment says when we look at the 6 missional drivers. Now, this is the science of psychology, folks, that I built this assessment on in this particular area. There are 6 motivational drivers from psychology, and I just reworded them and used them to say, okay, what results motivate me? And Kelley, so we have the 3 categories. I care deeply. That's influence. That was her top result. Yeah. I connect with service, creation, and achievement. Bingo. But I couldn't care less. Kelley's results, drum roll, please. Efficiency and solution. Yeah. Chad, she doesn't want a folder because she doesn't care about the folder. You know what she cares about? Influence. Creating new ways to influence and serve. And then she cares about the scoreboard. How many people did I help this month? How many people did I reach on Instagram with this thing? That's what Kelley cares about. She cares about the scoreboard. So she's got hire for people who love efficiency. Yes. Like Kelley, you are surrounding yourself with checklist freaks.
Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I'm hiring for.
It's what you need. It's what you need. Yeah. And
you need
and people, and then the customer service side is all about solution.
Yep.
So what's beautiful is you've already figured it out, and this is less about ahas for you. This is more about discipline for you as you grow.
Right.
That you are spending all of your time. I think you're in a place where I don't know that you need to spend 5% of your time. If you get this thing systemized correctly, and let's say your social media person comes in and they're figuring everything out, they need to come up with the schedule. They need to come up with all the things they do. And all you do is influence.
Perform it.
You come in and perform it. Tell me when to be there. Tell me what we're looking for. What does the data say that the audience wants more of? And you create your little buckets. And then you come in and you deliver it. And then you never, you don't see it until it's time to edit and approve.
Literally, that is exactly when I'm saying it to people in interviews. I'm like, I don't want to think about the content calendar. I don't want to think about any of that. So like, I'm glad that I've kind of
validated it.
Yeah, this has been very validating for sure.
Yeah. And what that's going to do is it's just going to give you so much more energy, and you're offloading stuff. So
yeah,
that's how you use this is, you're coming back and you're going, look, if I am driving any results outside of influencing the audience, I'm off.
Right.
We could make a case for, anything above the average line. So creating and serving the audience, like that's what you're focused on.
Right.
You're focused on that out as it relates to metrics. But I mean, you have got to be creating content that is of an advisory nature. You've got to perform it. And then inside your team, you are the chief vision, chief cheerleader, chief vision officer, chief cheerleader. That's that leadership role for you. Clearly defining, this is who I am. It's who I've always wanted to be. We're not going to change. This is what we are as an extension of who I am. Yeah. And so that's the idea. And then as far as the talent, just to kind of wrap it all up.
I really like what you said about the visionary thing though, because I feel like I've been so like bogged down in tasks and like to-dos and like minutia that I have last year, 2022, I feel like I didn't have the time to be a visionary and like see the next phase of my company or like what I wanted it to look like. And so that was kind of where that decision to make these 2 hires come from. And like, would I like to not spend, 6 figures on 2 salaries a year? Yeah, I wouldn't like I would love to keep it all. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be happier if I am able to grow even more and not waste my time on the stuff that I don't enjoy doing.
And you know what? You bring up a very good point. It's okay for you to say, you know what? The business is growing so quickly. I'm not ready to hire just because I don't want to. Great.
Yeah.
So what we have to do is we have to learn to go, okay, I'm going to press pause on some growth so that I'm prepared for the next season of growth. So I've got to go, how much time in my day, week and month, am I sitting down and reconnecting to my vision?
Yeah, exactly.
It's really important for you in your role. Because in your business, Kelley, you are the product.
Yeah.
It's like what I do.
Right.
Chad, in his role, he's selling a product for a brand. In our situations, like I had to sit down with our social media team the other day, and I was like, hey, let's revisit some stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me kind of show you, because we got some new people on the team. I was like, let me go back and kind of show you. And I've got this one sheet, and it's called the Ken Coleman Show Gospel. And it's just my way of saying, this is what I believe.
This is what we live by here.
This is and it's written, it's like this. And Kurt's sitting over there. I made publicists look at it. This is my philosophical statement. And out of the philosophical statement, this informs what I want the audience to experience. And I've got a full paragraph.
Yeah.
And so it's important that you revisit that, Kelley, every time you bring somebody in. And when you hire these 2 people, I mean, talk to them.
Yeah.
Like almost borderline too much. And then I want to see, here's why. Because I want to see if they're like this. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can't wait to get started. Or they're like, oh, I wish you would shut up. and I'm being a little facetious, but to prove a point.
Right.
Yeah.
When you are an entrepreneur and you hire those first couple of hires, and every hire subsequently, but early on, you can have this control to look somebody in the eye and you share your heart for why it is you started this, what it was like the first time you took on that first client and the second one, and tell some of the old war stories and say, here's how that has informed my vision for where we are today. And when you come in here, I want you to understand you are having a direct extension. As a direct extension of me, you are having an impact on these people this way. And this is the problem we're solving. And this is the solution we're providing to solve the problem. And this is the reason why we do it. And watch them. Just look at them.
Yeah.
And you're going to find out pretty quickly whether or not it's a job for them or if there is a heart connection to this. So I'm preaching a little bit.
Super helpful. No, I love it.
But But anyway, so I think position B. We went over both positions, didn't we?
Yeah. The second one being, someone to manage my clients, and you're saying like that, the efficiency there is.
Yeah, that's that client liaison, customer service. Get that off of your plate. Report back to me. Tell me what they're saying, what they're feeling.
Yeah.
And then you know what to do with that. And then the social media, again, that's going to change your productivity level. Your creativity, your content's going to be better. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's been killing your creative juices.
Right.
That's the bottom line.
You'll probably want her to take it though too, because she needs to be really good with people. She's probably got to feel value and connect.
Totally, with like I will definitely have the two people that I hire for this take this. I want to know like more about them, and
to his point, making sure.
Well, and I think it teaches you also like how to manage more effectively, like the people that are going to be working for you. So it's like a tool that you could use for so many different things. So thank you for letting us do this. We're really grateful.
Thank you,
seriously.
Guys. Thank you. I love it. It's the work of my life, and I think it's just an awareness tool that I want many people as possible to get it. So we'll provide a link to you guys, but kencoleman.com. It's in the store. It's called the Get Clear Assessment because just that's what it does. Simple as could be.
Yeah.
And excited for you guys. You guys are in a real fun season of change.
Yes, we are.
And Chad, don't feel like you got to take either of the three that you got so far, man. If you don't feel it,
thing too. I'm like, well, what else? Yeah, I mean, 100%.
Don't feel like you have to.
Yeah.
Wait for the right one, and then maybe go fishing. Maybe go.
Yeah. I feel fortunate. In my world, there's a lot of layoffs, so I feel very fortunate that I do have optionality. I'll say that.
Oh.
Can people work, like if they take this assessment, can people work one-on-one with you too? They can, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
amazing. I feel like this was like a great. And if someone wanted to do that and like have even more clarity and coaching on this, like
and we're looking at potentially doing a mastermind. We're toying with the idea where I would do this with maybe a group of people.
Yep.
And the reason is, imagine if we had 10 or 15 other people like you all, and you're working through this together, and you begin to see things.
The community support is just incredible. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I'm bummed. I want a third installment. I got to say, we really look forward to this all week.
We did.
I think you're one of our favorite guests. I won't be shy in saying that. And it's actually one of the best performing episodes. So you're good at what you do, and people really, really find value in it. So keep it up, my friend.
We don't have to. This doesn't have to be goodbye. If it's right,
yes.
if it's right for your show, I'll keep coming back. But
we can.
I'd love to. I tell you what we could do. We did discuss this last time. It's up to you. We could give your audience a discount code if we wanted to.
We'd love that.
Yeah. And make it more personal.
Yeah.
Instead of sending them to my site, we could potentially do a 30-day deal.
From when this airs.
Yeah. You all talk about that. I don't want to put you on the spot.
No, we would love to do it.
We've talked about
Rip off the Band-Aid. Let's do it. Is there a code you want to give them, and then we can put it in the show notes?
You can probably come up with it.
Yeah. We've got a link that we can do.
Perfect.
And what I need to do is, Kurt, I need to talk to Damon, my brand leader, and he'll come up with a way to where we will give a discount, and we'll have a link that we'll create so that it's to you all. Because I'd like to track it too and go, wow.
Yeah.
And you guys may want to know how many people,
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we definitely do. So we would love that. We will put a link for everybody in the show notes that's from Ken that you can use if you want to go and take this assessment, whether you want to use it to expand a career that you're already in, or you want to change careers, or you want to use it for the people who work for you, whatever it is. We think that, but like we said, Chad and I have been so helped by this. So
totally.
Thank you, Ken, again for being here.
You're awesome.
It's been great. I know it's late there, so we appreciate your time.
We have to meet up in real life one of these days.
Yeah, we would love that.
It's really been a pleasure.
You are welcome in Nashville. Where are you guys based?
We're in Vegas.
I've never been, so that needs to happen.
You've never been to Nashville?
I know. And I
we
love
call
music too, so I need to go.
call it Nash Vegas.
I like that.
Because we got the whole downtown area. Like, it just doesn't have all the casinos, but no,
100%.
listen, if I get out to Vegas, we will definitely break bread. And if you guys come to Nashville, you've got to reach out to me. But anyway, You guys are great. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
Love it.
Great to see you.
Safe travels home.
Thank
You
you.
guys. Thanks for having me. I'm honored. Have a great weekend.
You
You
too,
too.
man. See ya.
All right. Bye-bye.
We really hope that you enjoyed that episode. You can follow me on Instagram at Wellness by Kelley. And if you're new around here, you can sign up for the WBK 7-day free trial where you can get access to all of my low impact workouts, blood sugar balancing, plant-based recipes, and guided meditations, all available on wellnessbykelly.com and on the WBK app.
Hey, thanks for listening.
Please make sure you rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. You can also connect with us on social media at Wellness by Kelley. Drop us a DM for who you want to hear from.